Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Awad. It's a
Pleasure.
pleasure. It's an honor because
It's
you've
my
been
honor.
there. You so many other Fed members and Fed heads. Now, Yellen finished a 2-day congressional testimony on Thursday, yesterday, and we know how the market reacted on Wednesday, but the market did not show any reaction on Thursday. Was it a surprise to you? And
No.
should we expect anything further from Yellen going ahead?
Yeah, no, I think what you see is what you get, that she is trying to have a balanced approach and saying that she's going to be supportive until inflation is 2% and the labor markets are more secure. And she didn't surprise us, and I don't think she will surprise us. The real test will become if and when we get to 2% inflation, if we do.
If we do.
Right.
But will we ever get to that
Well,
level?
right now, as we sit here today, there are two schools of thought. One is that we've reached escape velocity in the United States, and that all this money is going to start to turn over, the money they have in the system, and that a year from today, we're going to suddenly be looking at inflation. And if that's the case, and the labor markets aren't as strong as she wants them to be, the real test for her will be, does she fall behind the curve on inflation? And the markets are worried about that. The other school of thought says that we're just having a second quarter recovery from the first quarter weather-induced slowdown. Things are still slow in Europe. That housing in the United States is not going to provide the support that it has historically and has for the last year, that China's still slow, India's still slow, Brazil's still slow, and so we're not going to go to 2% inflation. So we're going to continue with slow, steady growth with low inflation. That's actually a better scenario for the stock market. But if that's the case, Yellen will not be tested. She can be very gradual and incremental.
In terms of the overall economic picture, she expressed her concern about the labor data, the non-farm payroll, and plus the unemployment. And she said she was really concerned about the long-term unemployment portion in the unemployment rate. Were you also concerned about that?
Well, that's an issue, but that's not a monetary policy issue. That's a secular issue in our society, that you have some people whose skills are outdated. You have some older people whose skills are outdated. You have some young people that aren't properly trained for the workforce. There is no looseness in the labor market for
volatility. There's an identity crisis. There's bubble. The internet and technology shares have been disappointing us. But during the economic swings, we see them being affected the most. Do you believe in the bubble? Do you think that we're going to see a correction?
Well,
and if yes, how much?
Yeah, the broad market is fairly priced and will go up or down with earnings from here. Within the technology, social media, you had a momentum bubble that was surpassed only by 1999. And so these things were getting to extended valuations. They were going up because they were going up. The momentum players were paying them. They've stopped going up, and therefore everybody's rotating out of those into more value conservative stocks. That's a healthy thing. That's a good thing, because the valuation, it was becoming a game again. And so the market is really being very rational here, that the NASDAQ and the Russell 2000 are going down because they went up so much on momentum, but the S&P and the Dow are holding. And that's a good thing, and I expect that to continue.
So you expect to continue more correction? Do you agree with a 20% correction?
Well, within those sectors, not in the market in general. Not the Dow, not the S&P, but within the NASDAQ and the Russell 2000. I don't know if it's 20, but it certainly could be 10. You're down 5% year to date already in the Russell. I could see the Russell being down 10% year to date before the correction's over.
Thank you so much. You need to come again. And then I have to ask you about emerging markets this time, including Turkey. But our time is up, unfortunately. Thank you for coming again.
See you next time.